The Scream franchise of horror films is one of the most best series ever made. Its long-running popularity owes a lot to the homages it makes to the genre as a whole. Scream VI recently dropped its first teaser trailer, bringing back the previous film's crew of survivors, including breakout star Jenna Ortega's Tara Carpenter and her friends. And the first look also continues the franchise's habit of making homages to other great horror films and franchises, and this time Scream VI references Jason Takes Manhattan. Scream VI will not be the first sequel in a major slasher franchise to take place in New York City. In 1989 saw the release of Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, the final film in the Friday franchise to be distributed by Paramount Pictures before New Line Cinema took the reins in 1993. While one would be led to believe that Jason Takes Manhattan is set primarily in the city that never sleeps, the reality of the situation is that the film is notorious for not delivering on the promise of its subtitle. In turn, Scream VI has the potential to be everything Friday the 13th Part 8 should have been, and so much more. Jason Takes Manhattan had quite possibly the most misleading advertising campaign in the history of horror. The Friday the 13th sequel's wonderfully subversive teaser trailer, eye-catching posters, and even its title sold audiences on the idea of a film about series antagonist Jason Voorhees wreaking havoc in New York and laying waste to its denizens. As critics at the time pointed out, there was also great potential for satire by juxtaposing Jason's somewhat campy brand of horror with some of the all-too-real issues that plagued New York in the 1980s. All of that was far from the case, unfortunately. In the end, Friday the 13th Part 8's title and marketing campaign wrote checks the movie itself literally could not cash. The film's lean budget of $5 million made it impossible to shoot a lot of it in New York. As such, only a small fraction of Jason Takes Manhattan actually takes place in Manhattan. The vast majority of the film revolves around Jason terrorizing a group of teenagers on a boat bound from Crystal Lake to New York, with some scenes set in New York itself tacked on at the end. There are scenes of morbid hilarity in an 80s trash style that makes the movie fun to watch, but Jason Takes Manhattan is about average as a Friday the 13th movie can be. That's not inherently a bad thing, but considering how the film was marketed, especially the movie poster, fans were likely expecting something very different, and included in it. At the end of the day, Jason Takes Manhattan may not be the worst film in the Friday the 13th franchise. Actually, I like this movie, but it's almost certainly the most disappointing. Scream VI, meanwhile, looks like it will actually be able to make the most of its New York setting. Scream VI synopsis indicates that it will take place in the Big Apple from the off. Moreover, judging by the film's teaser trailer and poster, it won't lean into the glitz and glamour of the city as Jason Takes Manhattan tried to do with its marketing, but rather the uncaring nature of the big city. Ghostface stalking his targets through a crowded subway car full of other costumed individuals who are none the wiser is a haunting visual that feels like it's moving the franchise forward while staying true to its roots by harkening back to Scream II's iconic opening scene. On that note, the Scream franchise has already proven its ability to adapt to a metropolitan setting like they did in Scream III. While Scream VI's budget hasn't been publicly revealed yet, its predecessor's budget was already twice that of Jason Takes Manhattan when adjusted for inflation. Given Scream V's success, it only stands to reason that the studio would give the filmmakers even more money to play with this time around. All signs point towards Scream VI not only continuing its own franchise's unbroken streak of good movies but also showing the Friday the 13th franchise how it's done in terms of making a New York set slasher film. It's a bit ironic, considering the fact that Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, arguably the best film in the Friday franchise, helped to inspire Scream in the first place, but seeing as how Scream VI is being distributed by Paramount, it seems things have come full circle and the studio can finally fulfill its promise of a slasher villain taking New York by storm this time.